like to introduce Elizabeth Nunez, who works with the Young People's Chorus of New York City and has had a lot of experience with the leading choral groups. And as you can see, you have some wonderful repertoire this morning. So without further ado, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Good morning. You guys are very quiet. I hope that we can be a little bit more interactive as we go through the morning, maybe after your coffee kicks in. I'm on my first cup still. I didn't drink coffee until I had children. My first child, I needed a cup to get myself going. And after my second child, I needed 2 cups to get going. And so I've decided I can't drink any more coffee, so I'm not going to have any more children. Because it's just too much. But anyway, I'm Elizabeth. I work with the Young People's Chorus of New York City, where this is my 11th season with them. Prior to that, I received my master's in music education from the University of Oklahoma with a Kodai emphasis and conducting emphasis. And then prior to that, I was at Lee University in Tennessee, where I was a performance and music ed major. I wanted to get a sense, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I do because it's a very unique situation with the Young People's Chorus of New York City, but I wanted to find out very quickly what all of you do. So since there are so few of us, we have the advantage to take a few minutes. If you could tell me your name, where you teach, and what age group you teach, and beyond that, if you do anything extra like a band or chorus or orchestra or anything like that in your school. So shall we start over here? Okay, hi Dale.
Hi, my name is Dale. I teach junior high school at Cunningham Junior High School, 6, 7, and 8. And I hope to live to see the end of the year.
Good. And that's choral? You're teaching
Choral,
chorus.
choral.
Good. Fantastic.
Hi, my name's Lori. I teach in the South Bronx, middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th. I'm primarily a band teacher, but now they've kind of destroyed my program, and now they throw me all these general music classes, and I want them to have the element of singing, like some sort of performance. So I'm making a lot of them, at least part chorus. So I need a refresher desperately.
Great.
Screen and New Rochelle special ed music.
Wow, that is the whole school stuff.
No, just the classes.
That's amazing that they have someone devoted to that. That's fantastic. Yes.
My name is Simon. I work in Kingsborough College and Lucy Middle School.
Hi. Sorry.
My name is Anne Rivera. I'm currently not full-fledged teacher yet, but right now I teach private ladies piano, and someday I hope to expand my student base and teach whatever I'm doing.
Great.
Piano and other stuff possible.
Great.
My name is Isabella Justicia, and I just recently retired about a week ago, but I started working already. I taught K to 5th, and I taught the core, org instruments, music and the brain, but I was trained as a vocalist, so I would like to kind of like touch upon those skills.
Great.
My name is Ayumi, and I'm studying music education at Lehman College in the Bronx.
My name is Devon Gomez, and I work in the Bronx, PS66. I teach pre-KK 1 and 2, general music, and I also work in an after-school program, not inside the school where I work. It's called Offbeat. So it's just to provide, it's like an orchestra for children. It's connected to El Sistema from Venezuela.
Okay, great.
So I volunteer there. I've been volunteering there for the past 3 years or so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Quinn. I teach middle school chorus at Catherine and Count Basie Middle School in South Jamaica, Queens. That's it.
Good morning. I'm Fran Onifa at Packer Collegiate Institute in Brooklyn Heights, and I teach pre-K 3 to 2nd grade.
My name is Gay Lee. I teach music K to 5 in PS 162 in Bayside. I used to have a course, but they said I had no more money. It got rid of it. I want to go, like keep myself, so I don't use any. So that's
Hi, good morning. My name is Anita Berger. I graduated from Ithaca College of Manhattan School of Music. I've been teaching, this is going to be my 22nd year for the public school system, and I teach in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, elementary music, K through 5. I have a chorus, I have an advanced recorder group, and I love my job.
Good morning, my name is Maya. I teach in Brooklyn, kindergarten to 5th grade. I graduated from Brooklyn College, my master's degree. I have Kadal level 1 from NYU, and I have a course, and I would like to find more on this workshop.
Great.
Hi, I'm Dale. I'm a sophomore at New York University studying music ed. I'm interested in pursuing master's studies in choral conducting afterwards.
Hi, my name is Emma. I'm a senior at New York University, and I currently student teach at PS 59 in Manhattan, K through 5, and we have a choir, so I'm interested to apply this workshop to that.
My name is Lenore Nelson. I teach at Girls Prep Charter School. It's an all-girls charter school in the Bronx. And I teach K to 5 and after-school choir.
Hi, my name is Kate Bowling. I teach at Girls Prep Lower East Side, K through 4 elementary music.
Hi, good morning. My name is Paris Alban, and yes, I have laryngitis, which is not the greatest thing to have in the choral PD, but it is what it is. I teach at Restless H Junior High School in Queens, grades 6, 7, and 8.
Hi, my name is My name is Ingrid Camillo. I teach at PS 199 in Manhattan, K to 5, and I have choruses and I have recorder and music and movement.
I'm Lauren Klasowitz. I'm a recent graduate of Brooklyn College. I am currently looking for a teaching job. I do have private students, and I'm looking for more.
Great.
I'm Brian. I'm not a teacher. I think I shoot pictures.
Anyone else slip in? Michelle, our
Hi, my name is Michelle Turner. I teach at PS 36 in the Bronx, kindergarten to 5th grade program. I have a 4th grade chorus and a 5th grade chorus, and I do music memory as enrichment.
Fantastic. Well, hello, welcome. It's nice to meet you. As you can see, everyone has very different situations. What I'm going to talk about today is where I come from my situation with the Young People's Chorus of New York City. And hopefully you can take little bits of that and apply it to where you are. The Young People's Chorus of New York City was founded by Francisco Nunez about 25 years ago. And it was an after-school program to bring children from all over the city, in Westchester and New Jersey even sometimes, to come together to rehearse. And it was his hope that he could bring kids from different neighborhoods together, because a lot of children in New York City don't get out of their neighborhood. And he wanted to bring them together so that they could not only learn great music and great performance techniques, but also to learn about each other and to learn about all the opportunities that there are in the world around them. And it's been very successful. We have at this point in our after-school program 380 children. Wow. And we're out of chairs, so we're trying to figure out how we can expand for more. We did start an in-schools program in 2003, which we call our satellite school program. I'm the director of that program, and we send conductors into public schools, most of which don't have any music at all, to provide a choral education program. So we're there about 1 to 2 times a week, serving children, mostly in 3rd through 5th grade, but we do have 2 high schools and 2 middle schools at this point. That's a very specific situation because we have children coming that have never sung before or seen music before. They don't have any music ed in their school at all. So we're basically taking them from 0 to you're going to perform in 3 months. So we have to work very quickly. All of our rehearsals do have an accompanist, and I know that a lot of people don't, and that is a huge difference, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But we have accompanists in all of our rehearsals. And then just a year and a half ago, we started a new initiative called our Neighborhood Schools program, where we are setting up after-school programs in neighborhoods. Our first one is in Washington Heights, and we have started that program with 50, and now we're up to, I think, 95 or something like that in 2 groups this year. We're starting in 2 groups. And then in January, we're going to launch one on the Lower East Side. We're hoping to go into Queens and the Bronx and Brooklyn and serve them as well. But this is just another way to get kids around New York City singing, just like you do every day. And the children that are in your schools are so lucky, because when I come to these schools and I see, these schools with no music education, it's really just such an awful thing. And so I commend all of you for being out there and getting these kids singing, because I believe that music has the power to change their entire outlook on life. I think that the excellence that we can inspire in our children can transfer to all other subject areas, and I'll dive into that a little bit more later. So, what I'd like to start with today is kind of my approach to teaching children to actually read music, and to be the musician in the classroom when we're going to learn music and perform. So I'm gonna go at this from the kind of where I start with our satellite schools, where I go into a class and I have a group. We start in 3rd grade. I go into a class where they've never seen music before. They might not have even sung before. And how do I start that from scratch? How do I get a group that knows nothing to go with me? So if you have a little handout here, and I have a part 1 there, and you can, I don't know if you received these handouts. If you didn't, we can get you one. It's a white piece of paper. Do you have that, Roberta? Do you have that? Does anyone need this?
Does it have one?
Everyone has that? Okay, great. So part 1, that's where I want to start with Foundations for Score Reading.
I don't have
I
that one.
see I need my coffee. I think I'm in the allergy club.
Sorry. Everyone else has a handout? Great.
So I just kind of left this kind of open so you could take notes as you need, because I understand that every person's situation is different, and I wanted you to be able to write what you need. So let's talk about the first day. So my class comes in. They do not know how to sing. New York City children speak around a B below middle C. That's where they speak. That's where they live. They live in that area, about where I'm speaking right now. Really low, right? So it's when I was teaching in Oklahoma and Tennessee, wasn't the case. They were speaking around an F, maybe a G. So to get them to get into their high voice was a little easier in the Midwest than it is here in New York City. So the very first thing I do is an exercise that I just get them to explore the ranges of their voice. So I'm going to ask you to do it with me. Will you stand? So I want you to imagine that you are on a game show, and you have just been invited to step into one of those really fun, fantastic glass cages. And when they say go, there's going to be all kinds of money flying around. Okay? That's very exciting, right? Yes, thank you. You got to get with me, because I have a very low self-esteem, and I need the So I'm in this money booth, and I'm going to reach up and I'm going to catch 4 bills in my high voice, and I'm going to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, and then that money starts to shake on down, and then I'm going to reach into my middle voice and catch that money. 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that money's going even lower, and I want to catch it, and I go 9, 10, 11, 12. Now this is what happens most of the time with this exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But where was my middle voice? My middle voice was low, right? It was still around that middle C area. So I want to get them up into that. The high voice is up into the E, F, G area. And then I want to get that middle voice into the B flat C above middle C area, right? So can you try that one more time? And what I would tell them if I want their middle voice to be a little higher, I would say, well, the first bills that we had, those were $5 bills coming down, but now we're going to have $20 bills. I'm so excited. You would be too if you had $20 bills coming down. So I'm going to reach up and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. And if I need to do, and I'll do that exercise every week for a while, just to get the voice going and to figuring out where are your levels, how are we matching this pitch, and they really start to understand how they can use the full range of their voice. Thank you. You can have a seat. After that, I like to, we begin all of our rehearsals at YPC with the singing of A440 with no pitch given from the piano. So everyone has memorized the pitch A440. So from that pitch, I can use my solfege to make it any degree of the scale and go into any key that I need to for warm-ups. Most of the time we might go back to the piano, but by memorizing A440, I'm giving them that sense of pitch. So I'm going to give you the A. So I would have Michelle. So here we have, so I will teach them that it's living here on the staff, and we're going to, can you sing for me? A440, A1. A440, A1. Exactly. And early on in those early days, I might even bring my tuning fork and take the time, if I don't have too many, to go around the room and let each one of them hear that quiet pitch. And what I'm doing by this is allowing them to take the time to listen. Because we're so reactive nowadays, right? We're so reactive on our apps and on our phones and our television. And even the TV is asking you to talk back with Dora, right? So we have to figure out a way that we can get our children to learn to listen. Because good musicianship is not just producing something, but it's also being able to listen and to hear what's going on. So by teaching them that pitch and going very slowly, letting that pitch sink in, and then maybe even playing telephone, where one day I might bring the tuning fork and give it to this person, and they all begin, all the way around. It's passed down. And then to test it against the piano and see if it's in tune, all the way around. Now this means also that you have to have your piano in tune. It's a real piano. So if you need help with that, go to your PTA. Tell them, look, we can't have a piano that's out of tune. And get that in there. Good. So after I've done that, I like to bring a lot of my Kodai training into my classroom to get them singing. The idea that they would play a game first, and then we would identify that as being an actual song. So let's just say it's day 1 or 2, and I'm going to teach them a little game. Can you tap a steady beat with quiet fingers, please? Repeat after me. Here I come. Here I come. Yes, so right after. So here I come. Here I come. Where from? Where from? New York. New York. What's your trade? What's your trade? Lemonade. Lemonade. Give us some, don't be afraid. Give us some, don't be afraid. So this is a game called Lemonade. And a lot of you might have heard of it before. I like to use it because it's teaching them the so-me interval, but it's also a call and response. So if I had this, I don't know how to use the smart board. I haven't had that training yet. But I would write this down. So I would write, here I come, where from, in 2 different colors, and I would split the room. So we would have this room, you sing with me on Here I Come, and here I come. Where from? Where from? New York. New York. What's your trade? What's your trade? Lemonade. Lemonade. Give us some. Give us some. Don't be afraid. Exactly. That's the whole song. So then we switch it. So now you're going to say, here I come. Ready? And here I come. Where from? Where from? New York. New York. What's your trade? What's your trade? Lemonade. Lemonade. Give us some. Give us some. Don't be afraid. Good. Now this is really nice for younger kids. If you're in middle school, it's a little bit too juvenile for them, right? So you have to find other play parties that are a little bit cooler for the middle schoolers. But for 3rd graders, this is perfect. 2nd graders, 1st graders, this is a great game. Now when you say, what is a trade? They're going to say, it's like when you swap things, like if I have a pencil and my friend has a cookie, and that's not a really good trade, but they're talking about they're going to trade something, right? So that's kind of where we get into our discussion about trade. And this brings in a really excellent point that each of you need to be prepared to tell your administration, and that is that music reinforces everything else they're doing in the classroom. Your songs, the history of the song, the language of the song can coincide with the curriculum that your classroom teachers are teaching. And that's got to be your argument. Now, we all know that music is good for music's sake. We believe in it, it inspires us, and we want to inspire our children with that. But sometimes you need to explain, look, we're teaching multitasking, we're teaching language arts skills, we're teaching math, we're teaching all of these things at once, every single day. So when we learn about what is a trade, it's not just so that we can sing the song. I want to know, what is a trade? Well, there are types of jobs, and then we start to talk about the things. So then I go a little further and take the time to play a game with them. Now, all of this is in the disguise. It's the disguise of, I just want you to repeat the sol mi interval over and over again. But I'm playing a game, so you're really excited about it. So we're going to have a kid come up, and he's going to pantomime his trade. So maybe a girl comes up, and she starts doing this, and she's doing, oh, what is her trade? She's a hairdresser. So we would sing the song, and at the end of the song, the child would pantomime what they're going to do, right? So that's how I get them singing. Then I'm going to go into the solfege. Now I have a high pitch. Can you all sing sol, sol, sol? And everyone, hold your hand up like you have. Put a mirror on the palm of your hand, and put that sign up in front of your eyes. So you're looking in that mirror and you're saying, oh, I'm so beautiful. Just look in that mirror. Isn't that nice? And now we're done looking at ourselves, so we're going to put the mirror back down on the table and sing me. Sing sol mi. Sol mi. So now I have, here I come. We're from New York. What's your trade? Lemonade. Give us some, don't be afraid. So now we have a different pitch. What's so everyone, look in the mirror. Look at your look straight in the mirror. Straighten your eyes. Good. Oh, and you see something wrong with your hair, so fix the hair. There's your la. And look back in the mirror. It's okay. And back. Put the mirror down on the table. So this is how I get the kids singing sol mi la instantly. And why do I like the Kodai order of teaching pitch?
Because kids are so visual today anyway.
They're so visual, it gives them that visual. But what is it with sight reading that we often do? We often start with steps. Everything is right next door to each other. But the Kodai system starts with sol, mi, then you add la, then you add do, then you add re, so you have pentatonic. Then you go into extended pentatonic before ever introducing fa and ti. Then you introduce fa and ti. So the idea is that day one, I've got my kids singing an interval. And I'm going to take that song, and I'm going to write it out, and then I might write out the rhythms with the eighth notes and the quarters. And then write out with them the so and the mi. And then even put it on a staff. I don't know if you have, if you've ever had that great rug in your room that has the staff on it, right? So and mi, they're on a line. So and me are best friends, and they always walk on the lines together. They just walk down the lines. So I might have a child come and be, and so and me are such great friends that if so steps off the line into the space, that me steps into the next space. You know, so we're instantly singing this. So and me. You know, so they're seeing the steps on the staff. They're seeing the steps. Those rugs are so great. If you don't have the rug, there is a budget-friendly way you can do it. Masking tape.
Yeah. Oh, I have another suggestion I use in the classroom. Jump ropes, and you lay them out. You start with 2 jump ropes, and then you extend.
Excellent.
And they're actually jumping, so it's a KT. You're hitting all their learning channels, the auditory, visual.
Excellent. You can do that, absolutely. You can also do tape. You could put tape on the floor with the 5 lines and the 4 spaces. Another thing you can use for the children who are seated is the hand. Everyone take out your left hand. You have 5 lines. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you have 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for a couple of weeks, I might just drill line 1, line 3, line 2, line 5, line 4. And just drill, getting them to point to that. And it's there. I go very quickly. These children are thinking faster than you or I ever thought we would think. They're seeing a new image every 2 seconds on the TV. Their apps are moving so fast. Most of them, they stop paying attention because it's too slow. You have to challenge yourself to go faster, to teach to them to where they are. Their minds are wired differently. Okay? So that's basically how I get them singing. From there, I go into, and this is all what I just did with you would be typical of what I would do with my first 15 minutes of class ever seeing a group. Lemonade. Done. And that's because I go fast. And they can do it. If you can do it, they can do it. They're as good as you are. So you better be really good. Okay? So then I pass out my score. So everybody take out a piece called Wink to the Little Baby by Mary Getsy. Now this is a great piece. So now I'm going to get into what I have for you is five subjects that you should look for in every score. The first one is what I call identifying the parts of the score, which are the very basic things, such as composer, title, what is there a piano line, treble 1, treble 2, if there's a bass line, or soprano alto if you want to call it that. Measure numbers, bar lines. All of those things are the parts of the score. Repeat signs, going back to da capo, back to the coda at the end, those sorts of things. Those are just kind of the building blocks of all musical scores. After that, we get into the specifics. So item 2, and I'm going to talk about all of these at great length, but item 2 is meter. Is that what I put?
3.
I'm sorry. What's item 2?
2 is what you just did, identifying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So part 1 is first days of singing, but now I'm going to get into 5 things. So my 5 things start on number 2. I apologize for the, Microsoft Word, they decide what number it's going to be, and it's hard to see. So what do you have here? So it's identifying the parts of the score, and then meter, and then rhythm, melody and harmony, and then form. Those are my 5 categories for every piece that I want to know. That's what I want to know for every piece of music. Something that I'm going to teach them in this score that has to do with meter. Something I'm going to teach them that has to do with rhythm. Something that I'm going to teach them that has to do with melody and or harmony, or both. Something with the form. Why do they need to know the form? Because they need to memorize it. They need to know the order of what it is. And then the very first thing, obviously, is the part of the score. So let's look at Wink to the Baby. So I just passed this out. You've never read music before. And I say to you, what's the title of this piece? And most of them will get it right, because it's very obvious. Because it's the biggest word on the page. And it's on the front of the page. So they get that right, okay? Then we talk about the composer. Well, the composer is the person that wrote the song. And here we have words and music by, and they can figure that out. This is all very basic. Sometimes there's a lyricist, and we'll talk about the difference of a lyricist and a composer. But this is all happening within maybe 2 minutes. Then I go on to, all right, well, I have 2 lines here. I have all voices and piano. Which line do you think is for you? All voices. Which line do you think is for Michelle? Piano. Good. So what happens is we have this line. So I'm going to start off, and I would like you to follow along. And Michelle's going to play her part, and we're going to come in when I bring you in, because I'm the conductor, and that's my job to bring you in. And I want you to just follow along with me with your finger on the words. Here we go. 1, 2. Everyone must sing. Here we go. 1 and. When I was only 2 years old, I took a walk alone. I made it to the farthest shore by jumping stones. Fantastic. That was great. We're not going to go any further than that just now. I want to play a game. Michelle, do you want to play a game? Yes. So I'd like Michelle to play a game with us, and she's going to play starting where you sing. She's going to play your part, and she's going to stop anywhere she wishes on that whole page. And I want you to guess what word she stops on, okay?
With their
So you play only their part.
Okay.
Yep. What word was it? Took, exactly. Can we try again? Let's see if we get another one right. Made. Very good. So from there, for the first day, I'll just use lyrics. Day 2, I'm going to use measure numbers. So everyone find this little 5 right here, point to it and show your neighbor. I do a lot of peer-to-peer learning because the smart kids are going to get it and they're going to help their neighbor. Teach to the smartest child. Do not teach to the middle. You will never get better than you are. Teach to the smartest child and you will go further. The smart children will be able to help the others and to bring them up with them. So I go on to measure numbers and I show them what the bar lines are, and now we're counting. So now it's day 2, and Michelle, we're gonna play the same game, but this time I want you to tell me what measure number we stopped on. What measure was that?
7.
Now a lot of them will say measure 5. Because I think that whole line is measure 5, but that's when you get into the discussion of bar lines. And show your friends your bar lines. Can you show me how many bar lines you have? So every time you have a bar line, it's a new measure number. So count with me. 5, 6, 7. Right. Now, week 3, I've gotten into beats. And even though this is in cut time, I'm going to teach it in 4, just for the purposes of learning how to read. And you can also pick a piece that's in 4/4. Or a piece that's in 3/4, or any piece that you choose. 6/8 is a little bit more difficult to do the actual beat because of the 8 note situation and the compound meter. But if you choose something that's in simple meter, you can take this a step further and say, now tell me what beat of what measure we stopped on. So we have. Measure 10, beat 2, right? And they can do this within 3 weeks. They really can. You just build it up incrementally. Yeah?
What will you do with the L students?
What is
English language learners.
Yeah.
The ESL speakers.
Yeah,
Would
so
they be able to, because I mean, there's a language.
do you have children in your class that are, that speak English? Do you have children that speak English and children that don't? Children who are learning? Right.
Some of them actually none.
None.
But,
Do you have a peer-to-peer system that the peers can show them?
sometimes, depending on the language.
Okay.
Like if we have a child who speaks the same language and they happen to be in the same class, there's communication. Otherwise, in my case, I have to use actually an app to be able to communicate with the child, and I would tell things to the cell phone, and then it will translate for the child so that I could help them. So I mean, my question to you would be like, how will I be able to help? I know that you said, teach you the smartest kids.
Yeah.
But how will I help?
I would very purposely seat the child who is learning the English language next to a child that can translate for them. And expect that child, I expect them to talk. I know a lot of people need silence. I don't like silence. I want you to talk. Let's all be a part of the process and let's get it done. And if I see a child talking to a child about this, then I'm okay with that. When you get to middle school, you have to know because they're really doing this. So then he called me, and and I'm like, no, I made that trick up. I know that one. When I was your age, yeah.
If you do have access to a smart board, and I think more and more schools are getting them. I mean, we have smart boards in every classroom now in my school in Brooklyn. But you can use a lot of pantomiming and gestures. Like I just got a child who's from Egypt, and the whole rest of the class is Chinese. And then when we had curriculum night, we had a class where the teacher was speaking in Chinese, and this poor woman who's Hispanic didn't know. So fortunately, I know Spanish, so I was more or less translating and showing her. So sometimes having a background in another language can help. And even if you look at a person, they may speak another language, because I did have Chinese children who lived in other countries and they could speak Spanish or something else.
Yeah.
That's another way to just, ask them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a true New York City problem.
Yeah, 180 different languages.
Not something that you're going to find in a lot of other areas of the country. But it really is, it's very unique to this city. And we absolutely have to find ways around it. And we have to use the resources that we have, to help as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that I have noticed for the years that I have been teaching, and because purposely I'm very interested in the language and in all the dual languages. They do pick up. At the beginning, they might be a little bit shy, they might be quiet, but they're absorbing every information. But like she said, use your peer, use even the child that you think might not know the language, but it's the best resource. Kids help each other, kids understand each other, and therefore they will progress.
And that's really important to know, that just because a child is not seeming with it on the first couple of weeks doesn't mean they're not getting it. And it's like, you know, I tell people all the time, people have this weird concept about music that reading music is all or nothing. Either you read it perfectly or you don't read it at all. And it's just not the case. When my son is 6, he's in first grade now, but when he was 4 and we would read together every night and he would start to pick out words, I would say to everyone, oh my God, my son is reading. He's reading. He can read one word, right? But I'm saying he's reading. Because we have this excitement about when little children start to read, that they're, oh, you read a word, that's fantastic, and we go nuts over it, right? It's the same thing in music. If they get one note right in that score, they've read it. And we need to start encouraging them with that kind of a mindset, that reading music is not all or nothing. You don't have to be perfect. Professionals are not perfect. They're making mistakes, especially on a first read.
Luciano couldn't read at all.
Well, then you have that. but yes, but we have to encourage them that reading is possible and it's incremental, and we have to start to do it little by little. And the more that you make them read and make them own reading the score, the more that they will. Most of the time, they don't try to read because they know that you're going to pluck out every note for them on the piano or sing it for them. Stop doing that. Do it when you need to, but for a first read through, let them make mistakes. I always say, make mistakes, no one will get hurt, I promise. And they do. They just go with it, you know. They're very brave, children. So let's read a little further in this, and then I'm going to get into our second category meter. But I want you to get it.
Elizabeth, not only that, as musicians, we got to start singing it from beginning to end. I'm getting like this.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
sure. You want to see how it ends? Yeah. Here we go.
I just hope we weren't putting it in.
Here we go, from the top, everyone.
Across the sea, the shore, the
so it's part of the score. And and bravo. What's so great about this piece?
Well, that it's strophic and it does repetition, and once the kids get it, then they have the confidence.
Exactly, it repeats itself. So we'll talk more about the form in a second, but what about the text?
It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a great story.
And it has
And-
an animal sound.
And the animals and all of it. So there's a lot of opportunity here for play. We need to make play a part of what we do. Enjoyment, laughing. It's so silly. Have someone stand and read the poems, read a verse, and then someone else read a verse, and someone else read a verse. And talk about what do these words mean. They might not know consonant yet. Again, talking about geography. We're reinforcing all of these words that they're learning in their classrooms. So we have the refrain that comes back every time. Even so if we have the A section, A, and then the B section, the wing to the laddie, wing to the lassie comes back every single time. So that's the chorus. So you could focus in on that in the first couple of rehearsals to get them really confident on that part, so that every time that part came back around, you had everyone singing, oh, wing to the lassie, wing. And this is a lot faster, by the way. That's the real tempo. Okay. So take it up tempo when you get it ready. You can gradually move it up, and it's a lot of fun. But you have the text here in the front, and you can just start by reading the text and talking about what does it mean. And you can see, the form here: verse 1, refrain; verse 2, and then we know the refrain comes back before every verse, and teaching that. Okay, good. So let's talk about meter. So how would I introduce the meter? Put your papers aside for just a minute and do what I do. Just follow me. How many different beats do I have?
4.
So now I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Switch to 3. 2, 1. Go faster. Not fast in your beat, faster in your thinking. 2. 5. Count. 4. 6. Keep that steady beat. Your children can do this. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 4. Keep going. 4. 3. 2. 1. I could do that one. No, what they love to do is 1. They get very fast. Music is not always in 4/4. It's not always in 2/4. Sometimes it's in 5. Sometimes it's uneven. Sometimes it's in 6. Sometimes it's in 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm doing this because I'm preparing them to feel the weight of beat 1 no matter the meter. So I have 1, 1, 2, 1, lift, lift, 1, 2, 3. My snap is always my upbeat because that's leading me down. right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4. 1, 4. Same thing with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 1. We're always going to that downbeat because that's where we want to anchor, right? I introduce meter in this way because I want them to be able to mix the meters. You should not choose music that is always all 1 meter. Mix it up. Have a 2/4 bar in there with a 4/4 and a 3/4 and a 6/8. Mix it up as you get better and better with the children. Their ears are very complicated. They can do this. We just have to allow them and give them the tools to make sense of it all with those meters. So I also do this pattern as a kind of prerequisite to teaching them how to conduct. My 3rd graders can conduct. I can send a 3rd grader in front of the class to conduct a 3/4 pattern or 4/4 pattern and keep the choir together. They have to know how to conduct because they need to know what I mean. I went to school for a long time to be able to do this. And when I do it, I want them to understand what I'm doing. And I want them when they go to see an orchestra concert or when they go to the ballet and they see the conductor, I want them to understand what that person is doing and understand that the role that the conductor plays in the rehearsal. So I'll have everyone extend their right hand and I'll be their mirror. I'll extend my left. So after we've done what I just did with you for a while, then I'll begin, especially with 4th and 5th graders or 6th, 7th, 8th who have been in the chorus for at least a year. They're conducting every rehearsal. So I'm going to start with 4. So actually, for the younger kids, I might give them a visual. Everyone hold a hammer. So, you've got this hammer in your hand, and you're at your grandmother's house, and there's this beautiful glass table right in front of you, and there's a fly on the table. Smash the table. Oh, you missed the fly. That's fun. And then, oh my goodness, the fly's on the wall. Hit the fly, go. And the fly's on the other wall. And the fly's on your friend's head. So they're getting this pattern of down, over, out, up. And we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't be afraid to make up silly stories to go with what you're teaching. It's so fun for them. And they get that visual and the story. And they're not going to remember that they conducted in 4 that day, but they're going to remember, we took this hammer and we smashed a glass table. They're going to remember that. It's funny. Who doesn't want to do that? I'm an adult and I want to do that. I don't want to clean it up, so that's why I won't do it. But, yeah, let's break things. Fun. So, here we go. So we're all here, right hands extended, and we're going 1, 2, 3, 4. Count the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. And just like I did with the other pattern, I'll go now 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 2. 1, 2. And 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Good. I will use this getting into top time. So I would say now that we've done Wings to the Little Baby a couple of times, so let's say we're going to conduct in 4. So everyone extend your hand. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. When I was only 2 days old. Right? Well, is that too slow? Yeah, so let's get the tempo up to where it needs to be. So we're going to conduct Michelle. You'll extend your right hand to Michelle. Here we go. I'll count off 4, and then you're going to conduct. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Good. And actually, it's a little faster. So now let's go a tempo. So 1, 2, 3. Are you going to get tired if you do that the whole song? Well, that's what I teach them. I teach them that I'm going to get too tired doing that the whole song, and you're not going to be able to read it because it just looks crazy. And you can say to them, doesn't that look crazy? You don't want me to look crazy, do you, right? I'm just only going to conduct beats 1 and 3, so I'm just going to go 1 and 2, try it, and 1, 2, 1. Isn't that so much easier? And they'll make the decision that it's easier for you. And now they'll understand that even though it's quarters, that I'm just doing this because the tempo's fast and it's in that cut time where it feels a little easier like that, okay? Any questions about meter? Good. Let's go on to rhythm. Is that next? Yep. No. Rhythm is fun. Okay. So, give me 5. I'm going to take 5 empty chairs and set them up here. Here we go. 5. 1, 2. Thank you. Thank you.
I got one here.
I beat you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Just a smidge. Thank you. So I have 5 chairs here. And these chairs are going to represent my beat. Can you read 5 beats with me? Count them, please. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Music is not always in 4. Mix it up. Don't always do a 4-beat pattern. Don't always go, hey, repeat after me. Give them a 6-beat pattern, or an 8-beat pattern, or a 5-beat pattern. Give them, make it, yeah, you want to feel those, it's easier for them, but start to be more complex in what you're giving to them. So I have 5 beats here. My beats are always there. They always exist. But I'm going to put some sound on a beat. Can I put 1 sound on every beat? Who would volunteer? I need 5 people to put 5 sounds on 5 chairs. Come on up. Yeah, 5 people. Thank you. So I have 1 sound on every beat, and we're going to call this my ta. Can you speak on ta? Ready? And ta, 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 ta. Okay, so I have 1 sound on every beat. And I'm also going to draw it probably on the board and have the quarters written out for them. And sometimes I draw the chairs as a heart to show it's a beat. You know, it's always there. You know, so what if I wanted to put, let's see, I would like to put 2 sounds on beat 3. Who could make beat 3 into 2 sounds? Could someone volunteer to help make beat? Go ahead. Go.
Beat 3.
Beat 3. I want to have 2 sounds on beat 3. Okay, good. So she's behind the chair. That's a very creative way of doing it. It's not wrong. Most of the time the kids will share the chair, but you could stand behind her, and that's totally fine. So, but I need you to do something to show that you're with her. So, would you guys mind? Yeah, exactly. You could bridge it like 8th notes there. Or if they're both seated on the chair, they're both touching the chair. So now, anytime that I have 2 sounds on a beat, I'm going to call it a TT. Can you read the rhythm now? Ready? And ta ta t t ta ta. Is it driving you crazy to be in 5? No. Good. Okay, good. Some people are just like, oh, I can't do it. Good, because you want to hear that 4-beat evenness. We need our worlds to be so symmetrical, right? Good. Now, I would like to have no sound on beat 4. But beat 4 is still there, right?
Right.
Good. So read it. Now we're going to say the word rest. If we have no sound on our beat, we're going to say rest. Ready? And ta ta t t rest. Ta. Again and ta ta t t rest. Ta. Very good. Thank you, volunteers. You may go back to your seat.
But wait a minute, wait. Instead of saying rest, what I would do to really emphasize, could you sit back down again? I would have done, because I guess where I work or whatever, I would have done ta, ta, ti, ti, rest. So they really understand the concept of rest.
Right, you can
I
do
would
that.
put
Yeah.
motion.
Yeah, you definitely can. And there's different schools of thought on that, and you have to choose what works. The reason I ask them to say rest is because they rush it if it's silent. So they'll do ta, ta, ti, ti, ta.
No,
Or you
no,
could
but
do
I make sure
I
that they
say
do
shh.
right.
Or you can say shh, or just watch your language. You know, you don't want them to say. I'm just kidding.
For a half note, would you have like lay across the
Right, exactly. So yeah, so exactly. So why don't you? Let's have the three of you go back, and I'll keep you here. And let's say we're gonna make a half note here. So you're gonna. I would just they'll do this, and then quarter note. They're gonna a whole note. Touch over here. Go. It's so fun, and they love to do it, and they want to let them pick their friends, because someone might not always want to share a chair. Now, okay, so thank you. You may go back to 2. I'm gonna call more people up, but I want to make actually a 4. I'm going to my 4 here, because I'd like to create a pattern here. So this is actually, I'm going to put a bar line here. So maybe I would separate them just a smidge to show that I have 2 separate measures of 2. Can you count the beats with me? 1, 2, 1, 2. Do it again. Ready? And see, and I would reinforce this because I'm showing them I have beats here. Beats and meter go together, hand in hand. So ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. And I'm walking, so make sure you go the way that they read, not the way that you read. Right? So you're going to go the way they read. Ready? Again, last time, and 1, 2, 1, 2. Good. 4 more volunteers. 1 sound on each beat. Go. Come on, be my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good. So now I have ta, 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 ta. 1, 2, thank you. 1, 2, ready, and. Ta, 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 ta. And while they're sitting there, my hand can go ta, 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 ta. So they're still keeping the meter involved in their ta-tas. Ready, go. Ta, 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 ta. Got it? Good. So now what I'd like to do, I would like to have 4 sounds on beat 1 of measure 1. 4 people. So how many more people do I need to add? 3. So do you have 3 friends here? You do. Can you pick them? Do you want to pick them? There's 2 friends. Okay. And another friend. Good. So 4 sounds on beat 1. You're not on beat 1. You got to be on beat 1. Now, I've had some very creative ways of doing this. I've had children where they all stack on each other's laps 4 in a row. I've had them all just kind of, I don't want to touch you, I'm going to stay away, that kind of thing. And whatever they do, it's okay. Because they don't have to always do it in the way that you would do it. Whatever they create is what they own, and whatever they own is what they understand. So as long as it's correct, I can keep it, okay? Because like when you were over there, Dale, right? Yeah. When you were over there, Dale, you weren't in beat 1. Right. So we want to keep you in beat, so I would need to move you into beat 1, okay? So now I'd like 2 sounds on beat 2 of my first measure. Who can give me 2 sounds on beat 2? Come on up. Thank you. So now I have 4 sounds on beat 1, and I'm going to call that my tiri-tiri. Now I might break this down for a while. I'm not for you because you all know 16th notes. But I would break this down for them where I'm going tiri-tiri, 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 tiri-tiri. And we would do it, 4 beats of tiri-tiri. So they understand that before mixing it in with 8th notes and quarters, which they've already done. Can you read the rhythm? 1, 2 on tiri-tiri, go. Tiri-tiri-ti-ti-ta-ta. Now do it with the 1, 2 with the beats and go. Tiri-tiri-ti-ti-ta-ta. Okay, good. Now, I would like beat 1 and 2 of my second measure to also be TTs. How many more people do I need to have TTTT? Who can help us? Do you have any friends here?
Yes.
Can you pick a friend? Do you have any friends here?
Oh, I have 2 friends
Yeah.
here.
You only need 1. I'm sorry. You have to pick a friend. Okay, good. So now read the rhythm for me. 1, 2, ready, and. Excellent. Good. Now, the next bit that I do is how I introduce the tie when I have notes that are tied together. So I would like to tie these 2 8th notes to Maya's 8th note, and you're not going to be a part of the tie. So I don't have a whiteboard, so I'm sorry I can't draw this, but I would draw on the board my 8th notes, if you can visualize that. And then I would erase one of them We keep the flag, because when you erase this, you get the flag still going, right? And then I would pick children who have sneakers on. Why? Because I want to tie their shoelaces together. And this is the most amazing thing in the world to them. For some odd reason, the idea of the teacher tying your shoes to your friend's shoe is the most hysterical thing that ever existed. So, I'm actually going to take these 3/8 notes and tie them together physically with the shoes. And it's so much fun. So now they're all tied together, right? And that will go from there into our dotted quarter. So now I'll say to you, find a piece in your music that begins tiri tiri ti ti tam. Find a piece in your packet of music that begins with. So before even looking at the score, before ever finding it, I've introduced this rhythm, and they see it reinforced written on the board. You guys can go back to your seats. So I have tiri tiri ti ti tam. What is it? Ring Cha, Aaron Copland. This is a classical piece. It's a piece that, to them, some of our children here in New York City, might be very foreign. It's a classical American piece. But because I've already taught them the rhythm, they can recognize it. They understand it. How many times do I have tiri tiri ti ti in the first page? 3 times. So now we're going to read it together. Michelle's going to start at the beginning, and I want you to actually speak the rhythm only. Don't sing it. Just speak tiri tiri ti ti tam. And they're not going to know ti tam yet, but I just want them to speak the tiri tiri ti tis. 1, 2, beginning, and speaking tiri tiri ti ti tam. Tiri tiri ti ti. Tiri tiri ti ti. Ti 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 ti. So what I might do in this scenario is to have you guys have, I'm sure a lot of you have great props in your room, right? So pick something that's really fun to look at. What's the funnest thing you have in your room that's small that you can hold in your hand? Like a ball or something, right? So you have, let's say you have a red ball or a red koosh ball. Ooh, those are fun, right? So let's say you have a red koosh ball. So take the red koosh ball. When you see the red koosh ball, you sing. When you don't see it, I sing my solo. 1, 2, beginning, and still on tiri. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti 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 ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Again from the top. 1. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti 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 ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Ti 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 ta. Your turn. 2, beginning, go. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti 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 ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. The whole thing. And 1, 2, everyone go. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti 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 ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. Tiri tiri ti ti ta. That's the basis of the whole song. My hook, my door into it was through rhythm. I found it. But guess what? I can also do it on solfege. So, 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 mi, do, so. They already know so and mi, right? So what if I asked you, and I'm advancing a few steps here, because I would have taken time to really prepare this well with students, but because you're all trained professionals, what if I asked you to just sing the so's and the mi's? 1, 2, slowly, and so, 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 mi, do, so. So, 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 mi, do, so. So, mi. Good, and then I can add the do, right? That's very advanced. So this is something that I might work up to after several weeks. Not something I would do right away, because it would freak them out, kind of like it freaked you out. You're like, hold on, my brain. It's been a long time since sight singing 1 in college where you had to do those, all that solfege, right?
Yes.
But you can break it down and not introduce any, and you sing the other pitches. They don't need to sing it. They just need to make the recognition that so and mi are there, and they know so mi. So mi, so mi, so mi. We're just reinforcing that, and then la, and then do. You know, once we get to our pentatonic, we now have a lot of our pentatonic pieces in this piece. Let's read through the whole thing. Here we go. One words.
Brothers gather round, listen to the story of the promised land and the promised glory. You don't need to fear if you have no money. You don't need a man to buy you milk and honey.
Off.
There you ride in style, country forward horses, and the evening meal has 1, 2, 3, 4 courses. Cheering, ching, oh-ding, good lucky. Cheering, ching, oh-ding, good lucky.
1, 2.
Let's we all dance to the harp and fiddle, waltz and jig and prance, cast off down the middle. When the morning comes, all the grandest fiddlers stand out in the sun and lay the holy thunder.
You can take the F sharp if you wish. Brothers.
Brothers, hear me out. The promised land is coming. Dance and sing and shout. I hear the horses drumming.
1, 2.
Cheering, ching, cheering, ching, 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 cheering, ching, cheering, ching,
1.
cheering, 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 ching, 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 chong.
Let's do the end again very slowly. This is the best part of the piece. It's a tongue twister, right?
Yeah.
And that's fun for children. So here we have a classical American piece, early 1900s, that you can introduce to your students and will be fun for them. And it's a door into talking about that period of America, to talking about the style that the piece is in, that Copeland wrote in, to introduce other pieces by Copeland, to talk about him as a composer. All of this stuff is accessible as you're studying it, okay? Also, you want to get into, and I'll mention this later on in parts 2 and 3, but you want to get into the style of it being very, very tall and round in that head voice. So we're working up into that one area. So dance and sing and shout, right? So we're going nice and open in the same way that we were reaching up for that top dollar, right? As opposed to the pop voice that a lot of kids want to sing with. So we have to ease them into this in a way that they don't feel like this style is not foreign to you because you all study music, but it's very foreign to our students because it is classical. They're not used to hearing this. Okay. Let's look at the very end. This is measure 97. If I were in rehearsal and I'm calling out measure numbers, I'll say check your neighbor and make sure that everybody's on the same spot. Here we go. 1, 2, ching.
Cheering, ching, ching, 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 cheering, ching, ching.
Rest.
Cheering, 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 ching, 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 chong.
I get to say the first measure. You get to say the second measure. So every other measure is mine. 1, 2, I will start. Cheering, ching, ching, cheering, ching, 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 cheering, ching, ching, cheering, ching, ching, cheering, cheering, ching, ching, chong. See how I would let them repeat me because it's the same. It's 2 of the same. And then we might switch it. And then I might have this half of the room, you sing the first measure of every pattern, and you answer them second measure. So they're understanding that those measures they're repeating, it's kind of a call and response. Let's start from, you're going to sing it this time. They're going to sing the second measure in the pattern. 1, 2, 1, and go. Switch, ready, and go. See how quickly I switched? It's repetition through variation. So I need them to repeat this because that's the only way to get it right, is to just do it over and over again. But to just say, do it again, do it again, do it again, is not fun for any person, young or old. It's not fun. By making it a game, a pattern, answer, switch. Now we're going to do it, I did it, then you did it. So now in that duet, I might change to you go first, I go second. I'm reinforcing the intervals in their ears. So it's repetition, but I'm varying it so it doesn't become monotonous all the time. Good. Any questions about rhythm and that whole thing? I kind of went off on a different tangent, but about introducing rhythms. Try to get that in there. Yeah?
Just a question on the solfege. So
Sure.
when you're starting off with Sol and Mi, would you tell them, okay, we're starting on Sol for this song?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say,
And
yeah.
so when you're starting off, would they just be going through looking for Sol and Mi? And like as they're reading, and they would just read the Sol and Mi's? And what would fill in?
You.
I would fill
Yeah.
in.
It's really hard to do.
Like, would I be filling in?
It doesn't have to be. It could just be on words, and if you did it on words, it could reinforce, that their reading skills to make sure they're in the right place. Or it just depends on where your group is, and you have to really know where they are in terms of their ability to follow that. To ask them to just sing the So and Me is very difficult.
It is. It's
Yeah.
tricky.
I wouldn't do
And
it for
also,
more
how
than the
would they
first
know,
page.
Like, there's also the third between G and B.
Yeah.
And so then it's like.
Yeah,
the confusion of.
I wouldn't ask them to sing it. I wouldn't. I would if everyone go back to measure 5. So I have this pattern. So, mi, do, so. Take out the 16th rhythm, and just let them sing that. I'd follow my hand signs. So, mi, do, so. And then I would sing, oh, a ding a ding larky. And then your turn. So, mi, do, so. And then I would sing, oh, a ding larky. You can do that. I mean, it doesn't have. It's not all or nothing. It's. I can read these 2 measures right now, and really, I would introduce do in the second or third week anyway. So it would be completely natural to introduce this piece with so mi do, and try to find those patterns throughout. Yes.
I was going to say, it's a good idea. I found it's helpful to take a pattern like Sol Mi or Sol Mi Do and make a warm-up out of it, so you're prepping their ear before you even get to the piece.
Absolutely. In the same way that I prepped the rhythm. So before I even take this piece out, I'm prepping the rhythm. Or maybe the next rehearsal I'm prepping the solfege. And then I'm introducing it that way. I might go into my rehearsal after a couple of weeks with the piece and say, please take out the piece that begins like this on your line. And they have to find it. And then, after I've done some solfege game, I would make sure that you're in the right key, in the same key as your song, because you don't want to be in a different key and then it comes in, I do movable do and law based minor. I know a lot of people do fixed do. There's no wrong way. It's just whatever you're most comfortable with and whatever you feel like you can best impart to your students. Good. Any other questions about that? Good. I hope that answers your question about.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get kids onto the page being able to identify. I think Sol
It's
Mi,
the hardest
right?
thing in the
That's
world. Yeah.
How to bridge that gap. And
Yeah.
It's just coming up.
But
with,
it's the same thing as if I take out a book and I read to you and you're following along with me. You're not necessarily picking those words out of nothing. but you are following along and making the identification in your brain that, oh, that pattern is so, mi, do, so. Yeah.
No, I was going to say that the first two sounds that you actually introduced, sol, mi, if I'm not mistaken, because there have been studies about it, are the first two cooing sounds that babies produce.
Yeah, for sure. It's the most, I mean, na 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 boo boo. I mean, it's, yeah, everyone sings those intervals for sure. And I think it's in all cultures. That's the,
It is.
that's the one. Yeah. So let's get into the solfege a little bit more. So moving into our fourth point. So I kind of already did this with the solfege with Chingering Chal. I want to go back to Wing to the Baby because I want to talk about how do you get them to read two parts. So in Wing to the Baby, we have these animals that come in. So go to page 5. So let's say, just for time's sake this morning, that we've already introduced the piece in two parts. And I've been rehearsing with my group 1 on the top melody line. And I would probably actually have everybody learn the melody first and then add in that second harmony part. And then the very last thing I would add would be the animal sounds. So what I've done with this piece is to teach, again, as I said, everybody in two parts, and then to teach everyone the animal sounds, and then to pick a couple of kids who are doing really well at the animal sounds, who could sing it maybe 2 on a part or 3 on a part or even 1 on a part, depending how big your group is, by themselves. But I want to teach every group every part so that I can identify the students who are going to be able to handle that. They're not all going to need to master it because they won't perform it, but I want to see, so I'm going to teach it to everyone. So everyone look at measure 26, page 5. So I have a pattern here. I want you to tell me how many bars is my pattern beginning on measure 26. Here we go. Ready, and rest, rest, rest. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Rest, rest, rest. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Rest, rest, rest. Ruff, ruff, ruff. How many measures is my pattern? 3, right? And my pattern is kind of tricky because it begins with a rest. And why do I want it, as a teacher, I know why I want it to begin on a rest, and that is because when the sheep comes in, the sheep begins on measure 1, where the dog is resting, right? So I don't want the people who are singing the dog part to think their pattern begins on measure 27. I want the pattern to begin with the rest. So everyone say that with me. Rest, rest, rest. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Rest, rest, rest. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Yeah, now we're going to tap the rest instead of saying it. So we're going to go starting on measure 26 and ruff, ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Good. So now, beyond that, I'm going to ask them to count how many, between pages 5 and 6, before the dog goes away, how many 3-bar patterns do I have? How many times do I sing my pattern? 5. So I've already set this up with my 5-beat patterns and my 3-beat patterns. That music is not always about 4s or 2s. But they're able to now think, okay, I have a 3-bar pattern 5 times. It's a little bit off from what you might expect. So now I'm going to ask them to count each pattern, starting on measure 26 and ruff, ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff, ruff. 3. Ruff, ruff, ruff. 4. Ruff, ruff, ruff. 5. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Okay? So they just memorized it. Day 1. It's memorized. The dog part is now memorized. So it's going to happen again like that. Okay? Now let's talk about when the sheep come in. Do the sheep come in before the dogs or after the dogs? The sheep come in.
Oh, I mean,
Well, in the piece. I'm sorry. Oh, you're right. It's a trick question. In the piece. Who enters first? The dog and then the sheep, right? So everyone go to page 8. Measure 56. That's the first time my sheep have come in. And they're going to be on beat 1 of the 3-bar pattern, okay? Ready, and ba, ba, rest, 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 rest. Ba, ba, rest, 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 rest. Ba, ba. How many times do the sheep have their 3-bar pattern? 5, same as before. The dogs have a 5-bar pattern, and the sheep have a 5-bar pattern, right? So now I'm going to have this half of the room. You read the dogs. This half you're going to be the sheep. Okay? 1. Who starts? You do. Ready, and. What's our third animal to enter? The hens. The hens. Okay. And the hens have a pattern of rest, rest, bop, 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 rest, 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 bop, 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 rest, rest, rest. Okay? 5 bops. Bop, 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 rest, rest, rest. So whereas the dogs began their pattern with a rest, the hens are ending their pattern with a rest. So I would teach them the opposite of that. So they're still in a 3-bar pattern, and how many bop, 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 bop do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big surprise. Ready? So now everyone pick your favorite part. We're starting at the top of page 11, measure 86. You don't really need to look at it because you've already memorized it based on our math of 5 patterns of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, the first time, and. Ba, 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 ruff, ruff. Ba, 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 ruff, ruff. Memorize it. Now the end gets a little bit tricky because of the 5-4 situation, but you would break that down for them individually after you found the children who are really holding those parts together. And I might actually try hearing different kids. Just try them out to sing solos. It doesn't have to, the first group you choose does not have to be the group who does it. In fact, when I have a solo or a small group or anything like that, I like to try different children from all over the room multiple times, so that no one gets into this idea of that's my solo. Because I don't like that. I don't like that feeling in a chorus, because a chorus is something that we all have to work together on to be good. All of us together, not just one person. So I really try to not choose like a star kid to be the soloist all the time. Okay? Good. That's basically the solfege. So I can also go into my minor at this point. Ba, ba is on what pitch? Do. And then we have the bop, bop, bop. And then we have the ruff, ruff, me. So for my older children, my 4th or 5th graders who have been in the chorus for a little while, I'm going to start to introduce minor. And I would use this to do that. They can sing it on solfege. Do, la, mi. Right? They already know that from the pentatonic. So we can just stay in that. Any questions about the other solfege? What about the tonality of, let's all start together at page 5. My Labrador Retriever. Are we in major or minor here? Minor, exactly. Let's start right there. I'm at measure, pick up to measure 33. 1 and. My Labrador Retriever was my beloved dog. Faster, please. For breakfast he would eat a cow, for dinner half a hog. He weighed at least 1,000 pounds. His neck was 10 feet long. ahead to measure 63. Pick up to 63. I came upon one and.
I came upon the vanishing of the glowing shadow. Her face was pink and velvety, and every bit was fine. I asked her for a little man, but then she did refuse. Instead she brought me one by one.
That's our B section. So we've done A twice in minor, and then we go to what for the B section?
Major.
So the tonality changes. It's a different feeling. Okay? And then we go back to 100 kangaroos all winter. Back to D minor. Okay? So you can teach the children major minor. They can know the difference in the tonality with that. Okay? So this takes us to the last thing that I like to put. Yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
So, would you teach your whole group both parts for the harmony?
It depends how much time I have.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. I always, when I'm working with one group, I ask the other group to sing along.
Okay.
And again, this is part of reinforcing that they're also listening. So if you know their part, you can listen to their part and know what's happening. And I ask them to analyze, what's that part doing while you're doing this? And if you have, I don't know if you have a lot of pieces that are kind of in parts and then they go to unison, parts, unison. I want them to know both parts so that they can know when they're singing the same thing. And then I might play games where if you're in unison with the other part, stand. And then when you're in two different parts, sit. So they're up and down, the whole time.
And do you have any tips, like, first getting into harmony with kids, either in 3rd grade or wherever, that's not part songs? Part songs I know is very easy for the kids to be able to get into harmony. But when it's suddenly, okay, you're singing this note and you're this note.
And that is
more solfege.
Definitely something that I have on my list to talk about for
Talk
sure.
about it later.
No, I can talk about it now too. It's very simple. We'll talk about the order of harmony, but you're right, partner songs is the easiest, and then canons, and then I look for things that are a moving line that's a line on its own. So if you have this parallel harmony all the time, that's the hardest. So that's something that comes with advanced singing, right? So I look, for example, this song, Wake to the Baby. Well, look at this line here on the refrain. So let's go to page 10. 100 kangaroos, kangaroos. That line sings itself. So when you rehearse that, and you have to be very dramatic about 100 kangaroos, kangaroos, So you give them something that they can hook onto, that this is my part, and it's not the melody, but it is equally dramatic, and it sings itself basically. Oh, wing to the laddie, wing to the little bitty baby. That kind of sings itself, even though it is parallel because it's coming from a different place. So I try to choose repertoire for my youngest singers that's going to have that counter motion. And in my situations with our school program, I try to keep all 3rd graders on the melody, and then 4th and 5th graders on the harmony, so that they've had a year to kind of just sing melody for a year, and then move them the next year to a different part 2.
And do you have any tricks in terms of, like, I don't know, being able to, like bottom of page 9, where it kind of goes into their more in thirds?
Honestly, just repetition. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe listening to it on the piano, so maybe having the piano play part 1 while I sing part 2, or, again, repetition through variation. So listen this time for this, and see if there's a time that you guys, and I'm studying this, it's not on the same note, but you do start in unison. Right, so you start on the same note, so it's going in a different direction. And then reinforcing with solfege if I need to for the older children. It is about repetition, really. Yeah. Yeah.
Something I've used that I work is there's usually always at least one who can hold the harmony. So I'll pick person from each part, and they'll sing it as a duet, and then I just add another person each time.
That's great.
So
I do that
then
too.
eventually it's
Great.
great choirs.
Yeah.
And it's fun because they get to show off if they're really good at it.
Yeah, and you can also point out the things that were good about what they did, and then kind of subliminally, they'll get the message that, oh, I really liked the way you sang the first note, and then they'll want to sing the other notes better. You know, whatever it is. So they're getting better and better each time as they repeat their variation. Okay. Let's look at the form, the very last thing, and then we'll take a little break. So let's talk about let's stay with Wink to the Little Baby. So if I'm teaching this, I might call it A. That would be the musical term, right? To call it A, B, A, with the refrain each time. What if I called it penne, pasta? Section 1. This is our penne section. I'm going to just name it something else, anything. Name it a flavor of ice cream. What's your favorite favorite flavor of ice cream? Go. Chocolate. All right. First section is chocolate. Good. What's our second section? Is it chocolate or is it something else? Page 5, my Labrador Retriever. Chocolate again, right? With some different words. So maybe this time it's, and they can teach, you can teach variation by teaching with sprinkles. Or, so the first section A is different words, right? So let me go a little slower here. So we have, when I was only 2 years old, I took a walk alone. The notes are that's my A section. So I'm going to call that chocolate, but I'm going to call this chocolate with whipped cream, because those words are different. And then when I come back, I'm going to say, my Labrador Retriever was my beloved dog. Is that the same or different? Same notes, different words. So now I have chocolate ice cream with sprinkles. Right? So you're teaching them about variations. A, instead of A prime, B, A double prime. You know? You're putting it, so now I have my B section. I came upon a friendly sheep. What flavor is that? Vanilla or strawberry or rocky. They come up with very creative things here. Rocky Road, whatever. Good. And then I come to the end. So I have my A section again. That's chocolate with different words. So what are we going to have with our chocolate ice cream this time?
Syrup.
Syrup. Yummy. Chocolate ice cream with syrup. So then we get to the very end, and this is the coda. How do you want to finish off our ice cream? Cherry. Right? Why not? Yes, eventually you will teach them A prime, B, A double prime. But why not start with a story that hooks them in and gets them to memorize? What is the ultimate goal here? To perform it, right? What do you need to do as a performer? You need to memorize it. And I start with the form very early on, because if they don't understand the form until the week before the concert, there's no way they're going to have it memorized for the concert. No way. They have to understand the building blocks of the piece, how it fits together from the very beginning of studying the piece. So while you're working out all those intricate note details, and don't always start at the beginning, sometimes we're going to start with our B section today. If you only have a 40-minute rehearsal, 30-minute rehearsal, you can't afford to always begin at the beginning. You've got to pick each week where you're going to start so that you get the whole piece. And then let them read through the whole thing. Because if you don't, it's like riding in the car, it's a manual with someone who doesn't know how to drive it. And you're like, can you just try? Sometimes you just want to sing. Think about the way you feel in a rehearsal when the conductor constantly stops you after 3 notes. It's exhausting, right? Mistakes will happen, but singing is good for the soul. So let them sing, and always end your rehearsal with singing something all the way through, for better, for worse. Because they have to feel what it feels like to sing the whole thing.
This is a happy story. So last year I did a lot of instrumental recorders and so forth and so on. And I really didn't do a lot of singing until it was time for me to do the big holiday show in December, and then everybody was so excited. But now we come to this school year and I decided, you know, I think I need to add vocal. And I'm going to see if it works with the kids. And so I took out the music books and I have them on the tables. And I just said, okay, this year we're going to do our instrumentals and blah, 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 but we're going to add singing, which is vocal. So I gave them the word and open up your books, and I hit the CD, and the first song was from Sesame Street at the time. Talk, sing a song from Sesame Street. And I did, that's like in the second grade book, music books that I have. But I just picked the books out of it. Everybody's singing, all the grades. My goodness, my goodness. My goodness, they were so excited, and and then I had to show them verse 1, come to the second line, stand staff. Verse 1 is still on top. You have to teach that, how to follow it. And then where's the chorus? Go to the top of the top page, but I want you to point. Oh my goodness. So this was the second week this week. And they were like, are we singing? No. Are we going to sing today? Are we singing? And it was just, I was so excited. I was excited, but they were excited. But the first grade came in, she says, I want to sing. So then I said, okay, let's open the book. And she said, no, Dr. Pratt, I'm going to sing. And this little first grader stood up in front of all of her, not the best audience classmates, and sang the whole song from Frozen. I didn't want to cry. And when let me show you all this, and then I guess whatever you see. But then when she finished, we all clapped, and she did like this. She broke my heart. I told her, so you know what, that was so awesome. We're going to try to put that on the December holiday
Everyone
show.
wants to hear it.
Everyone's going to sing it. We're going to make big snowflakes, and everyone. It was precious. So you're right. They love
They
to
love
sing.
it. They need to sing, and that. I mean, singing a song like they're all singing "Let It Go."
Yeah.
And there's been some very
And do you want to build
tricky
a snowman?
key changes and some very tricky intervals.
Some entrances.
The entrances are tricky, and they're doing it. So what do I say to you right before our break? They can do it. It's us who's limiting them. They can do it. So you need to challenge them, and you need to let it go, let them make mistakes, and let them improve. Thank you for that beautiful story. Let's take 15, and we'll come back. Thanks.
Already? Time to do that.